Foster, director and leader of these adult Spanish immersion programs in both Ecuador and Costa Rica. If you've been poking around the website a little bit, you've probably seen that we've got programs specifically for healthcare workers and students. We've got programs for teachers, Spanish teachers, classroom teachers, high school students, graduate level students. And you might be wondering, well, where do I fit in just as a general adult without one of those career tracks or paths? And so I wanted to share a little bit with you about what the adult program looks like and how it may or may not be a great fit for you. So primero, let's talk about a few of the components of the program. First of all, Clases de español. And this is a pretty central focus of the program. So todas las tardes, every afternoon, Monday to Friday, you're in classes for 1 to 5. And you're in small groups, grupos pequeños, with profesores profesionales, with professional language instructors, professional Spanish instructors for non-native Spanish speakers. And they're nivelados, they're leveled. So you're in a class at your level, not with people who are advanced level speakers and you're a beginner, for example, or vice versa. Y es buena mezcla. It's a good mix of español general, general Spanish, grammar, gramática en español, and heavy emphasis on conversación, because that's where the real skill is with language, right? Second component is Familias hospederas. Now, this is one of those semi-optional things. If you call me up and want to talk to me about the program and say, Rory, I love it all except for the host family thing, it kind of creeps me out. Then I'll say, okay, I understand, and explain to you how amazing it is and what the true benefits of staying with a host family are. And if you decide you still want to do the hostel thing or hotel thing, fine. We'll get you set up and possibly even get an apartment rented for you. So anyway, but the goal of Familias hospederas, host families, is 24/7 pure Spanish. And so you'll have breakfast and dinner with your host family. You'll get to know them. You'll have your own room, but you will integrate. Usted integra con la familia. You'll get integrated into the family. So we can certainly accommodate special diets, any allergies, special needs, etc. And what the host family does for you is it gives you mucha práctica con español. In the morning, you'll be doing a group activity. In the afternoon, you're in your classes. And then in the evening, you go home to your host family. And it's just 24/7 Spanish, in and out. And so it's really good for your language development. All right, componente número 3, the third component, Proyectos comunitarios. So community outreach work, community volunteering. So sometimes these are charlas or talleres, so like workshops that are requested by a handful of specific communities that we tend to work with and have long-standing relationships with. And it's 1 to 3 days a week, so those mornings are busy mornings. You're working in Spanish, and it's a lot of hard work. And typically we'll do 1 day of orientation and 1 or 2 days of prep in the week as well for those activities. And los otros días we'll be doing preparation. Usted tiene un tema y trabaja en grupos pequeños. So typically the way that works is, whereas in some other volunteer type programs you would be doing a construction project or a painting project or something like that, our projects are focused on education, and so they're very language rich, requiring you to speak a lot, and that really develops your ability to communicate, listen, and speak fluidly, which is why people choose an immersion program versus just a vacation. So we've got a handful of componentes, and again, if the family doesn't work for you and you want to do something, then think of that as optional. If you feel like you really just need your mornings free and you don't want to do community service work, okay, optional. So we've got some optional things, but one commitment, one group commitment that we always ask, which is the only way to make a group immersion program work together, is that siempre iniciar en español. No matter what your level of Spanish, we ask everyone in the group to commit to always initiating in Spanish. And what you find is, at the start, you're able to say this much, and then next week you're able to say that much, and if you're able to travel more weeks, every week you exponentially grow your ability to communicate, and that's how this immersion program really works. there is a wide range of adults who travel with us and a wide range of needs and interests that people have. So I wanted to share the stories of a few folks who traveled with us recently so you can get a feel for how flexible things are and how you can tailor the experience to fit your needs. Okay? First of all, Mike and Penny. Mike and Penny Mike's retired. He's a retired piano tuner, and Penny is near retirement. She's an anthropologist, so she's probably at the time of recording this video, she's done and fully retired. So Mike and Penny traveled in a winter program, and they wanted to be involved with the volunteer work. After a week or two in the mornings, they decided that, man, the pace was just too much and they wanted to slow down. And so we said, no problem, fine. And we pulled them from the volunteer work, and they had their following 3 weeks there, mornings free to go explore, relax, study, etc. And it worked out perfect for them. They stayed with the host family and loved it. Allison spent about 7 years working in a really high-stress job with Google, and decided it was time for a life change. And so she started her year of downtime with us in Costa Rica. And so she spent 6 weeks with us on immersion, really bolstered her Spanish, and then went from there and did a full year of traveling around the world. And so at the time I'm recording this video, she's just getting back from her around the world travels that started with our program in Costa Rica. So Allison didn't have a particular profession or work connection to Spanish. She just really wanted to be able to speak Spanish fluidly and help her in her travels. Dale is a successful electrician in the Northwest, and his wife is a nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner. So she participated in the healthcare program, and he's like, hey, you're not traveling by yourself, I'm joining you. And so Dale joined, and he loved the volunteer work aspect. He had some connection to Spanish at work on his construction jobs and electrician jobs, but the real focus was to build a basic conversational ability with Spanish. He started out with nothing, and be able to do some meaningful volunteer work while he was hanging out with his wife when she was doing her healthcare program. Ted said, he called me up and he said, Rory, I want to do this. I've got 2 kids, and I'm a commercial realtor, so I'm not using Spanish at all at work. It doesn't really matter for me, but I want to give my kids an experience this summer. But my kids are not going to do class. They're not going to just get out of school to go back into school. I said, okay, Ted, well, let's figure this out. And so what we organized for Ted was a 2-week program where they stayed with the host family, and they participated in all the volunteer work because he wanted his kids to see that. And instead of traditional classes, we did 1 day in the classroom for the teacher to kind of gauge them and get a sense for where they're at with their language. And then every day after that was some sort of field experience. So they were out visiting this or touring that or going to this cultural site, and always in Spanish, and but a non-traditional class kind of setup. Susan, retired geologist, and she's like, you know what? It's cold where I am. I need some sun this winter. And so she traveled with us for 4 weeks as well, and participated in the volunteer work in the mornings and did her classes in the afternoons, stayed with her host family, and she was just all in for Spanish all the time. Ashlei is, she's a executive bodyguard. So she does personal protection, retired police and firefighter, and has done many things. But her most recent job is executive protection. She's like, you know what? I've got a perfect pause in my contracts, and I want to do something. So Ashlei took 4 weeks during the summer months and traveled with us, and she landed with an amazing host family. Here's her host dad. Host mom is like this crazy athlete in Costa Rica, and so every weekend they were traveling to a different part of Costa Rica for the professional competitions that her host mom was in, And so she had a wonderful program, and she actually ended up extending her stay for 2 additional weeks past her program dates because her family invited her to stay, and she just hung out and wanted to keep going until she had to get back to work. Shannon here in the middle, she's a government contractor. She's got her own small business, and she was talking with her stepsister and Hope, and Hope told her that she was traveling. Hope's entering PA school, and so she said, you know what, I want to travel with my stepsister, but I don't really have a major connection to Spanish with my work. I just want to do this, learn some travel Spanish, and get more comfortable with my own heritage, my own Hispanic heritage. And so Shannon traveled with us for 2 weeks while her stepsister was on the healthcare program. Well, so that's it. That gives you an idea of how flexible things are and how unique and different people are with their goals and interests when they do the adult Spanish immersion program. So we've got Programas in Ecuador y Costa Rica, which you can see on the website. So, ¿qué hacemos? Well, estudiamos en clases. We take Spanish classes. Vivimos con familias. We live with host families. Y trabajamos en comunidades, often with niños. We work with different communities, often with children and other populations at risk. Hablamos mucho español. We just speak a ton of Spanish because that's the way you will really improve your language. Well, hey, thanks for joining me. I hope that this gives you a good idea of what the program's like. And if you have any questions, reach out. I'd love to chat with you and help you vet whether or not this is the right experience for you. Hasta pronto.